In rating decision denials from the VA, you'll commonly see language to the effect of, we are unable to grant service connection or grant an increased rating on this condition due to an absence of evidence, or there's nothing in your records to support this. This is why it's so important that you tell your story to the VA and that you're adamant about having your story told accurately. A great way to do that is with lay statements. Hi, my name is Zack Evans. I'm an attorney with Woods & Woods in Evansville, Indiana, and I practice in the area of disability benefits compensation. Lay statements can come in many forms. The first that I'd like to discuss today is buddy statements. So a buddy statement is going to be a statement from someone with whom you served. Someone that was in your unit that you shared a deployment with. A good lay statement provider would be from a sergeant or a commanding officer. Sometimes these are unavailable. Sometimes you've lost touch with these people from the time you left service. So that's not uncommon. A more common type of lay statement that I deal with in my practice is lay statements from family and friends. In particular, spouse statements are excellent. They're the person that you spend the most time with. They have an intimate perspective on the way that your service-connected conditions or conditions that you're fighting for service connection on have affected you throughout your life and on a day-to-day basis. So the first question that you have to ask yourself when you're considering using lay statements to fill the gaps in your records is, where is your claim? Are you at the service connection stage? Are you fighting over the rating? Are you appealing for an increased rating? Are you at the unemployability stage? Let's say your ratings qualify you for TDIU benefits based on the 60% one disability rule or the 70 combined with a 40 underlying rule. At that time, it's really important to discuss the things that your service-connected conditions prevent you from doing. At the service connection stage, we're primarily looking at onset evidence. So we're looking to corroborate anything that was in your service treatment records, a sick call for a mental health concern while you were in service. Physical conditions can also benefit from lay statement testimony. If, let's say, John got home from Desert Storm and he was suffering from chronic migraine headaches since the time that he was in service, there's been a continuity issue with how often John went to the doctor or complained about them. A lay statement from his spouse or from one of his kids or a friend that's close to him can really lay out the way that headache condition has affected him since he returned home. Another type of lay statement that is worth considering is an increased rating statement. So let's say you have a rating of 30% for PTSD and you've appealed it and the VA keeps denying you for an increased rating, even though you find it difficult to maybe leave the house, you can't maintain employment, some of your personal relationships have been impacted by your PTSD symptoms. A lay statement to that effect can really make it real for the adjudicator how this condition is affecting you and why you should be rated higher and your condition should be considered more severe than it is currently by the VA. Another type of lay statement is an IU statement. So in an IU lay statement, we're looking for someone close to you, probably someone that you currently live with, like a spouse or a child or an aunt or uncle or someone that sees you day to day, and even though you're unable to work from your service-connected disabilities, they see the difficulties that you have even around the house. So we're looking for activities of daily living, chores, bills, finances, yard work, cooking, cleaning, things like that if you're having difficulty doing those and your family notices a very marked decompensation in your ability to manage those activities of daily living, then it's very unlikely that a competitive work environment would be a good fit for that type of person. So that's why those lay statements, that's how those lay statements are used and why they're so important. Another type of lay statement is called an accommodation statement. These are used to show a sheltered work environment. So oftentimes when someone reaches the end of their career, they might have banked a bunch of sick time over the years, a bunch of vacation time, and during the end of their career, before they retire, you see they have to use more of this. There's more doctor's appointments. There's more days where they just can't do the job. Their body's not as rough and tough as it was, and maybe it's just mentally, they're in a bad place and they just can't really deal with the stress of the work environment. We see that with people that have mental health diagnoses pretty often. So an accommodation lay statement can outline what was happening to you at work during that time when you were technically still employed, but you were on your way to unemployment. Coworkers, supervisors, if you were a business owner and had a business partner that maybe was shouldering the bulk of the operations on your way out the door, those can be great providers for accommodation statements to show that, yes, you might have been working near the end of your career or even up until recently, but this wasn't a normal competitive work environment. It's sheltered. So VA exams do a pretty poor job of investigating functional impacts of disabilities. They do an even worse job of investigating how multiple disabilities can affect a person in tandem. This means it's up to you and your representative to tell your story. If you're interested in having your story told by those who know you best, your loved ones, and presented professionally to the VA, give us a call or visit our website.